The new contracts were mandatory for use starting Friday, January 3rd, 2025. I'm still seeing some confusion as to what needs to be filled in with respect to commission. We all know that buyer's agents can get paid 3 ways. The first is by being paid by the buyer directly. This is covered in paragraph 12A2 of the TREC contract. No amount will be shown in the contract for commission if the buyer is paying their agent directly. Instead, the buyer's broker will have to let the title company know in writing by a commission disbursement authorization, CDA, how much commission the buyer agreed to pay so that we can collect it at closing. This is no different than requiring a CDA from the listing broker to let us know what seller has agreed to pay the listing broker. The second way that a buyer's agent can get paid is through the listing broker via compensation sharing. This would be the case when seller agrees to pay the listing agent enough commission to otherwise share some with the buyer's broker. In this case, paragraphs 5A1 and 2 are filled in under the listing agreement. When seller agrees to pay the buyer's broker under the listing agreement, the TREC contract binds the seller under paragraph 12A1 by including the phrase brokerage fees that seller has agreed to pay, with all other fees seller pays under the contract. No other specific amount needs to be filled into paragraph 12 at all. Some people mistakenly insert the amount seller agreed to pay in the listing agreement in paragraph 12A1B of the TREC contract, but that is an improper use of that paragraph. 12A1B of the TREC contract is used for when the buyer is getting paid by the seller directly, meaning that there is no set commission sharing in the listing agreement, but rather seller has agreed to pay the buyer broker in the contract negotiations. This is the third way that the buyer's agents are paid. The amount seller agrees to pay gets negotiated in the contracts, and the amount is inserted in 12A1B. The contract is what binds the seller to pay the amount at closing. In this case, the listing agreement simply sets the amount that seller pays the listing agent using paragraph 5B as opposed to paragraph 5A, and leaves open whether the seller will pay buyer's agent commissions. Now, a reminder. If seller agrees in the listing agreement under paragraphs 5A1 and 2 to pay buyer's agent commission, a separate broker-to-broker agreement needs to be executed to bind the listing broker to pay the buyer's broker. And as always, the title company will still need a CDA to let it know what commissions to collect. So, as a recap, let's run through what paragraphs take care of compensation. 12A1A governs compensation sharing, and no amount is inserted in the contract. The amount is secured through the listing agreement and separate broker-to-broker agreement. Now, 12A1B is for the seller paying the buyer's agent directly. This blank will be filled in with the amount that the seller has agreed to pay through negotiations to the buyer's agent, and this binds the seller. If the buyer is paying their own agent directly, 12A2 covers it, and no amount needs to be shown in the contract. The information on the bottom of page 10, the broker information page, will only be used in the case of commission sharing, provided for in the listing agreement, but it does not create any binding agreement. It is for informational purposes only. The separate broker-to-broker agreement is what binds the listing broker to pay an amount to the buyer broker. We hope this clarifies some of the misunderstanding in the marketplace, but we are always here to help serve you and answer any questions you may have. Please feel free to reach out. See you at the closing table soon.